I ask you, this body that has grown from where it is until now, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, I ask you, where did it come from? How you get inside that house? What rent you paid on that house? What maintenance have you done on that house? What appreciation have you paid on that house? What tribute have you paid on that house? What tax have you paid on that house? What agreement do you have on that house? What contract do you have for that house? Absolutely none. So what you think? You just been given a house for nothing? Tell me, the landlord that you have right now, don't you have the obligation to pay him something? Don't you have the obligation to recognize that landlord? Don't you have an obligation to respond to that landlord? Don't you have an obligation to pay tribute to that landlord? Don't you have an obligation to take care of the house that belongs to that landlord? Well, that landlord is the lord of the land or the house that you live in. But there is another Lord, a greater Lord, a Lord that has created and sustained all the houses that we live in, called all the human beings and all the bodies. I ask you, is that Lord, that one that created and that one that gave us, the one who is the one that gave benefit to life and existence, is that Lord worthy of recognition? I'm asking you, non-Muslims, 10 or 15 here, raise your hand in agreement with me that if you knew who was the Lord and the sustainer of your life and your body, who is the governor of your life and gave you that gift, if you knew who it was, like your landlord, don't you think you should at least recognize? Raise your hand if you agree with me. No, don't raise your hand like this, because if I told you that I had $100 for you, if you just recognize that, just raise your hand, you'll be trying to reach for the sky. So now just recognize, I'm not asking you no trick question. I'm not going to trap you. I'm just asking you a simple question. Don't you think that the one who is responsible for giving you your life, sustaining you with all the functions of your body and your person and this life is worthy of your recognition? If you do, please raise your hand. Good. Don't you think that that same Lord is worthy of some kind of tribute? I don't mean you got to pay rent. I don't mean money. I don't mean month to month, week to week. That's not what I mean. I mean tribute, that you should at least give praise, thanks. Don't you think you should at least be thankful, be grateful, be mindful? Don't you think you should pay something? Pay attention? How many of you would at least think minimally we should pay something? Good. Finally, if that Lord, if you came to know that Lord, if you came to know about that sustainer, if you came to know about that one that he has given you also conditions, you don't know the conditions right now, but if you came to know those conditions, and they were very simple conditions, the Sheikh, he said, the main condition of life is to do good, speak good, work good, be honest, be decent, interact with people, be respectful, pay tribute, recognize, be honest, produce good actions, share with people, be honorable, be decent. These are some simple conditions. So if the Lord of your body, of your life, the one that gave you this life, the one that you say you're willing to recognize, the one that you say you're willing to give tribute to, don't you think that you would be willing to abide by 2 or 3 simple conditions? How many of you would agree to that? 2 or 3 simple conditions, I said. You wouldn't agree? I'm asking you, I'm not talking to these Muslims here, I'm talking to you and those over here, those 10 or 12, 15 people that raised their hand. I mean, follow me now. Follow me now, because that same one could snatch your life right now. You could drink a glass of water and choke on it and die right now. You could eat some of that popcorn and choke on it right now. You can walk out of here and trip and fall and break your neck right now. Your heart can stop beating right now. Your eyes could just bust out your head right now. You could lose your breath right now. This could happen right now. So don't be thinking that you got a whole lot of time to think about it. Now I'll be thinking about that next year when I'll see this guy when he come back, or I'm going to watch a movie, I'm going to read a book or something. No, right now you need to think about it. Because tomorrow morning you could be dead. You say, oh, not me. Yes, you. Death comes to pretty ladies. Death comes to young people. Death comes to handsome young men. Death comes to people who's all dressed up. Death comes to people who just graduated. Death comes to people that ain't ready yet. Death comes quick. Death comes without an announcement. I'm talking to you that you need to answer this question just as if you didn't have any more time. So let me ask it again. Don't you think that the one that you said you would be willing to recognize, don't you think that the one that you would be willing to give some tribute to, don't you think that if there were some small conditions for your living your life, which is some that I just named, that you and I would be willing to at least observe those conditions if it was vital to our life? How many would agree to that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All of you. Good. Okay, all of you right here, you have virtually become Muslims. Because to be a Muslim is to recognize that there is none to be worshipped, none to be recognized except that Creator. Is Muslims, is that correct or not? Is that correct or not? Yes. And to be a Muslim, it is to give tribute, to give praise, to not only to recognize, but to do something that is evident through the tongue or through the body, to give praise, to give thanks, to show your appreciation. That is one of the second conditions of being a Muslim. And the third condition is to abide by the rules. Abide by the rules. The basic conditions. If you are at least willing to do that, then I say to you that you should understand what it means to be a Muslim. Now, I didn't say be an Arab. I didn't say be a Pakistani. I didn't say be an African. I didn't say be an American. I didn't say be anyone other than one that submits, one that recognizes, one that pays tribute, one that fulfills the basic moral responsibilities, because that is the object of the life.